sincere practice of Krishna consciousness. So her advice is become a kinchana. Interesting words, because kinchana means something and akinchana means nothing. And if you from script, this puts one, she says, in a good position to cry out to Krishna that I'm helpless. I don't have anything. To the degree that I have something and I consider that I'm okay. Like we meet people all the time when we go on Sankirtan. They say, have a look at this, and they say, no, I'm all set. This is the mentality of your world. Prabhupada said it, even if you go to a hospital and a man, he's bedridden on his last month, and he's got tubes coming out from every orifice, and then what are you doing? So, thinking about how I'm helpless, I'm akinchana, this is very helpful in keeping one in the groove of constantly hearing and chanting and one's life in that way. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then gave the admonition, it's a third thing. Start from scratch. Be a kinchana. Think I don't have anything. I don't have any spiritual asset. I don't even have any material. I don't have material assets. It's obvious to anybody who even does a preliminary search in self-realization. And consider I don't have any spiritual asset either. And I'm without any asset. And then third thing, and be very humble. We talked about how when going on Sankirtan, one should place oneself in a inferior position before the people that one meets. Put them as the guru, and you become the disciple. But also, wherever we go, in our family, in our relationships, and so forth. Of course, there may be some expectation because of various social levels, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Krishna themselves honored those various social levels because it helps mercy to flow. But still, within every relationship and every circumstance, the recommendation by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is humility. One of the things he says is, be ready to offer all respects to others and without expecting any respect in return. And one could practice that even within a 12-hour period while one's awake. In the next 12 hours, you can try that and see if you notice that the false ego always looks for respect. That, when am I going to, in this conversation, be recognized, and when can I bring the conversation around to... and also, this includes taking credit. I was thinking about this the other day, that what if you went on a credit fast? It meant, for a day, a week, a month, you said, I'm not going to take credit for anything. I'll give credit to everyone. Truly do it. Just see what it feels like for a little while, and see what effect it might have. It might put us over into another realm where the only thing that's attractive to us is chanting the holy name, because the titillation that I get from the respect that I'm supposedly getting, which actually I thought about this also. Oftentimes it's illusory. I'm thinking I'm getting respect, but people have various reasons for giving anyway. So it may not even be genuine, and so it may not be that valuable. And if there's to be acknowledgement or respect, just leave it in the hands of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Krishna. Let them arrange it for one to be acknowledged properly. So those three things can be are recommended in Shastra, and can be greatly helpful in ordering one's life or preparing oneself to continuously hear and chant about Krishna. And now we'll have some time for some discussion. It means reflections, anything that you heard so far that stuck in your mind, or any questions you want to bring up to stimulate the conversation or inflame it. The last point, the third point was about humility. Practice humility in all its forms. In fact, there's a section in the Brihat Bhagavatamrita where Narada Muni says that one should, through body, mind, and speech, practice humility. And I was thinking about how Vaishnavas do this. And if you accidentally graze somebody when you're walking through the kirtan, you turn around and like, I'm sorry, right? And I noticed once at the airport, I mean a bunch of times, but one time was really memorable. There were two businessmen walking in opposite directions toward each other, and that didn't make sense. They were walking towards each other, but they weren't paying attention, and they were swinging their briefcases, and the briefcases clipped each other a little bit, and they both turned around and started scorning the other one drastically. And I was watching the whole thing. That wasn't necessary. It's just a briefcase. But this is, everyone's on edge. They're ready at any minute. As the default mode of the world is not to give respect to other people, but to berate them. But the Vaishnavas, through body, they're ready at any time. It's like, so my fault. Sorry, excuse me. If they bump into somebody, say, I'm sorry, I contaminated you. That's what they're feeling. And I didn't want to make... They move through the world in a humble way. Body, mind, speech. And this is something practical, actually, that one can cultivate. If one does this, prepares for it, and actually does it regularly amongst one's friends, what to speak of spouse, you'll find that there's a change in the environment, internal environment, and more of an ability to chant. And that's exactly what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. Kirtaniya Sadahari. If you want to be able to go chant all the time, then cultivate this humility. This is the panacea that one has in life. I was just answering your question. Right, okay. Ananda Prabhu.
At the beginning when you're describing Mahaprabhu, you're quoting that verse.
A little closer.
You're quoting who chases the animals into the animal-like living entities into the forest. And then I heard recently you gave a class, I think it was something about like how as human beings we strive for that personal touch. And you quoted, I think, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur or someone in the 10th canto, the pastime of the Brahma Vimohan Leela, when the cows wander off into the forests of Raj, and all the cowherd boys then become very disturbed because their livelihood has wandered away, and they get ready to get up and go find the calves, and Krishna says, no, I'll go get the calves. And then you mentioned how the acharyas state that Krishna going into the forest, he goes personally to save the living entities, and the calves walking into this forest is like the living entities coming into this material world. And I was thinking about how when Krishna does that, he's coming as Mahaprabhu. And then I also thought of you said the other day that Nityananda is the champion of chasers. So just that mood of retrieving the living entities was very...
Yeah, nice. Thank you. That was very, very helpful. Okay, Mahabhagavat, and then we're going back to Nagar, because Mahabhagavat, it's the infield fly rule.
Please, could you tell us the Lal Babu story?
Well, I don't know the Lal Babu story. In that the Lal Babu is mentioned under the category of humility, because he was a wealthy industrialist, and then when he was transformed and decided the goal of his life was to, then he went door to door and begged money. And the Lal Babu Temple, Nath Bazaar in Vrindavan, you can go visit. It's a magnificent temple. And also the section in this Bhakti Sandarbha, is it? Are you looking it up, Madhavananda Prabhu? Something. Mentions a story about him walking, and there's a mother calling to her daughter. I think she's a sweeper woman, and she says, now's the time to come home, or something like that. And it's just a declarative statement. And he was walking along, and all that whatever bhakti sukriti, bhakti unmukhi sukriti he had accumulated within his heart. It mentions we have a bank account in our heart, and when we get deposits of bhakti unmukhi sukriti, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur, then at a certain time it fructifies, and so for him it happened right when he heard this. He thought, I should be going back to Godhead. And then he gave up everything and he started cultivating. And part of it was building this temple. Close enough? Okay. Nagu.
You mentioned credit fast.
Yes.
And really got my gears turning and really got me thinking, what an amazing idea, you know? I mean, that sounds really hard, honestly. Really, really hard. And
Because people start giving you credit for not taking credit, right?
And then I have to give you credit because it was your idea. So it's almost like you'll have to be constantly scheming, like, okay, so every time somebody gives me credit for this or that, I have to figure out another person to give credit to. And I think
it might not be that complicated. You might just, because if you don't let the noise come up to that level of, like a lot of chatter, like who said what, when, and how, just like kind of don't let the words come out when they arrive. Yeah, but eat them, hold them back, and don't say it and see what happens. Hey, I thought of that. That was my idea. I mean, unless it's trademark infringement or something like that, that's another matter. But just in ordinary dealings, just not demonstratively taking credit and just process it and see what happens.
Yeah, I think it seems so powerful to me. I mean, it seems like more powerful than fasting from food or water or anything. I mean, I feel like you would really get a lot of insight, not you, but insight. So I think, I would get a lot of insight. It's because when you try something like that, when you fast, like for example from food or something, you see how habituated you are to it, right?
Yeah.
But so if you could fast from some habit or something, then it's just like, oh my God, I didn't realize that was just part of my cycle that I've adapted to. And that if I don't have it, I feel like naked practically.
Yeah.
So I think it would be very powerful to try that, and I'm thinking about it. I'm scared. I'm scared. Okay.
Okay, think about it. Yeah, Akurnath Prabhu.
I have a question about Gaurangari Dutipada, and the part where it says eternally liberated, then it becomes eligible to enter the abode of Krishna, and we were saying that even anyone who's participating in the Sankirtan movement is an associate of Lord Chaitanya, even today. But I'm confused because sometimes we see in the Sankirtan movement, and then they appear to fall down or to suffer misfortune, and so how can we see them as eternally liberated souls? And it's a little confusing to me.
Throughout the Bhagavatam, we find that when just dealing with the idea of fall down is something Bhagavatam deals with very encouragingly, as does Krishna. Start from the Bhagavad Gita. Apiche sudaracharo te mamana sadam yag vyavasito hisa. So Krishna says in the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, so someone's sudaracha, they do something really bad. If they're properly situated, if they're aligned, they're doing devotional service or determination, then that person has to be considered saintly. And it's automatic. He says, because Sri Prabhavati Dharmatma Shashvash Chantim Nagachati Konteya Prajidanihi Name Bhaktya Pranachati, next verse, that as they go on, they'll become, as in that purport, so how is it that a pure devotee can fall down? How is it? And anyone within the purview of devotional service who goes on practicing devotional service, even if they fall down, they're rectified. from within. 11th canto. Sopadamulam bhajata priyasya tyaktanya bhavasya hari vikarma yachchot patitam katanchid tunoti sarvam hridi sanivishtaha. This statement means that in the process of performing devotional service, one falls into vikarma, then one's rectified, continuing the process of devotional service. So then, actually, Prabhupada had mentioned if someone, what does it mean to be intentionally fall down? Prabhupada once said that if they come back, it wasn't intentional. And also, I'm thinking of the first canto of the Bhagavad Gita, Navajano jata katanchara vrajan mukunda sevayavagand anga sangfitim para what? Smaran mukanda guhanam punar vihatami chen narasa grahojana rasa hojana. So in this verse, Narada Muni says if somebody in devotional service falls down somehow or other, that is not like ordinary people, because he's haunted by the ghost of Rashina Chakravarti Thakur in that verse. He says the ghost of rasa haunts him, and he keeps remembering again and again the taste of performing devotional service, so then he comes back to it. Taking devotional service seriously, and, of course, tyaktva sadharmam charanam bhujam hare jan apakvo ta patatato yadi Yatra kwa babadram abura mushakim koarta apto bhajatam sodharmata. Narada Muni says if some process devotional service, but they didn't think it through very well, and they were apakva, they weren't ripe, and they just jumped for it, and they missed the bar, still, he says, okay, no problem. They get credit for forward progress. And that person doesn't lose anything. So in the realm of the process of devotional service, it's so auspicious that once having started, the person will be drawn to the power of the internal energy.
But still, if someone's a pakva or still a little kacha in, trying to service, then how can they be eternally liberated?
Well, green mango, ripe mango. Okay. Both example given by our acharyas. One's a green mango. I mean, there's... want to add something to that, Nagar? Okay, another question. Was there anything from this side? Yes, there were a few more before you.